What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 19 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Mannfred von Carstein Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have acquired another book of Nagashyn defeating Abhishek Bloodgatherer here, and 3 out of the 8 books remain. Our victory objectives are also drawing to a close as well, because the Broken Teeth at Nagashazar is the last territory that we need to capture for a long victory, which Mannfred, well, to be fair, Mannfred's going to have to take a long trip via the sea to get there, but, well, he'll get there eventually, and we'll see about what we can or want to do afterwards. And also depending on when we get the other books, because who knows. Hope you guys aren't growing bored of the campaign yet, because, well, there's still a few things that I would like to do. There's like at least, I don't know, half a dozen different army compositions that we haven't even started building yet that I want to try out, so there's still a fair few things to screw around with. We haven't gotten to zombie dragons as well. A few of our vampiric friends here, they haven't reached tier 5, so we don't have access to their units, and the Blood Knights are only now starting to come online. We don't have a single tier 5 yet. Granted, we only just got tier 4s in Khemri, our sort of biggest growing territory. We'll be reaching the first tier 5 in 4 turns. Anyway, all that aside, in addition to acquiring the book, we got a actual garrison defense battle last time. I think the only one in this campaign. They're a rarity around these parts. You guys know I'm generally pretty aggressive in my playstyle, so I don't really like to build defensive structures, generally speaking, which is why we don't have them anywhere, and these were the ones confederated. Besides, the best garrison is a bunch of zombies that you can raise at a moment's notice. The best border isn't a border, it's roving hordes of zombies. The best walls are not of steel and stone, but necromantic barriers of flesh, ready to collapse on any invaders, dragging them into a writhing, clawing, biting, stabbing mass of bodies. Anyway, we're let's get back to whatever it was we were doing. Manny, let's advance, shall we? You are looking to wipe out the Oracles of Tzeentch, hopefully before they can pop off any of their annoying abilities against you. And you will suffer attrition here, so I guess we'll pop into Necromantic Ritual as we advance towards the Lost Palace. And I'm going to hope that we can reach it here. Kadan von Senkenhoff, I mean, you would like to attack Galbaraz, but he's also kind of waiting around a little bit for some of the power-ups to his army, namely the other Necro, the War Drums that we want to put in there, because I'm interested to see what they can do for the power zombies, and I'm also kind of interested to see what they can do for the Gorsty sort of tanky zombies, because these are actually very different functioning zombie armies. I mean, Gorst's army and Kadan's army, so we'll see. I'd like to compare them as we go, but I would like to get them into sort of their final states before we do too much with them, or else it'll get boring waiting for the zombies to kill things. Anyway, he can just wait around until he gets his drums, or, well, I suppose if these guys lose here, he can besiege. Wilmar of the Thousand Wings. Yes, you unfortunately suffered attrition last episode because I'm dumb. And okay, I would like you to actually move here, because we should have another Terrorgeist available, but we don't have the money, meaning we need to acquire that money, meaning we need to fight something to acquire the money, meaning Bathilda and Nazard. You guys are going to fight this, wait. Are you in March stance?
Yes.
No. Vampiric Channeling? I'd go for Vampiric Channeling. Alright, we're gonna fight this. I was originally gonna do this between the episodes, but then I saw it was a Pyrrhic victory, and, well, Bathilda hasn't had a chance to let her 8 black coaches have too much fun as of yet, so I think we'll actually fight this one. Besides, the last battle where she fought, she purposely didn't participate with the black coaches, as they would have made the battle too easy, and instead we only use Bathilda, so why not fight some rats, including the legend Rickrick Slice Blade. Go.
Our time is now.
Does Klaus come? We could do with his blade.
Alright, our time is now. Well, your time isn't yet there, Nazard. You'll get your own army, not to worry, but for now, we've got another thing to do. We're only going to use, I think, the black coaches and the mortis engines here, plus Bathilda. Her army hasn't yet had the chance to shine, or at the very least, the mortis engines haven't had their chance to shine all that much. They did defeat Imric, I will grant, and have done a few battles together with the Ghoul army, but well, they're soon to separate into their own force, and I would definitely like to have them try their own thing. Plus, this is a relatively small army. Certainly, it's still a full stack between the garrison and the army therein, led by Rictus Sliceblade. But well, I'm sure we'll be fine. We do have Bathilda leading these things after all. Anyway, we'll start the day with the black coaches charging on in, sending many a rat flying to, I'm sure, everyone's enjoyment, and of course separating the black coaches a little bit as they attack different sort of portions of rats. Bathilda will get that zombie dragon breath down on the enemy catapults. Looks like destroying one of the plague claws and a fair few of the crew before moving downwards to touch down and start attacking the said catapults. Hopefully they will shatter, and then we can turn our sights upon Rictus Sliceblade. Of course, we are waiting for the mortis engines to move on in, but with only 54 move speed, they're only about half as fast as the black coaches. And the black coaches, until they rack up enough kills to get that 40% ward save, are going to be a little bit fragile, so we will still have to be careful. Then we can see these two have already suffered damage. The big issue, of course, with that is that, well, they will eventually run out of healing caps, so we don't want them to take too much damage while waiting for the mortis engines to provide them support, both via the Unholy Lodestar, the Vigor Mortis buffs, or the... wait, I think these guys have different names of the buffs. They have the Reliquary Binding is the damaged one. I think the other one... No, wait, the Reliquary Binding is the healing one. The Reliquary Corruption, there we go, is the damaged one. And, of course, the Necromancer to provide the, well, Unholy Lodestone if he's on a corpse cart, or a Master of the Dead if he is not. Anyway, Bathilda has found Rictus Sliceblade, but, well, the little guy probably has no chance against her and Zombie Meneathnir. I'd like to think that's what the zombie dragon here is. And this guy is... yeah, he's going to lose pretty badly here. All the while, the black coaches continue to move around, and finally the mortis engines have moved on in, which means we can essentially separate our group into two. One mortis engine and 4 corpse carts per group, and they can move sort of together separately in little skirmishers. Little sort of skirmish blobs. And now, nice little jump from Zombie Meneathnir there to destroy the Plague Claw Catapult. Missing Rictus Sliceblade, but that's not a big concern, as one more hit and Sliceblade will go. Down you go, buddy, though I do love that blue armor. The rest of our army, of course, still just standing, waiting on by while the black coaches do their thing, and they continue to do so fairly well. We can see those ones that got damaged are now healed up, as the Reliquary Binding has helped them out. Nice little sort of train going on here. We may not have Chaos Dwarf trains, but if we put enough black coaches together in a conga line, then we can get a train of our own. And a pretty devastating one at that, I'd wager. There we go. Maybe I'll put a couple corpse carts in with, and one of the armies, well, corpse carts, black coaches in with one of the ghostly armies, because they do have Cairn Wraith drivers, to be fair. And maybe a couple with Kemmler, just to keep his army a little bit different seeming than the other ghostly army. There's also, of course, the Mourngold concept, but anyway, for now we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and what we're doing is slaying many a rat. The balance power shifts to about 90% in our favor at this point. The black coaches continue to chase things, at least to some degree, as those rats will otherwise rout and then rally. And moving them together like this isn't quite efficient, or at the very least not moving 4 of them together at once, but we need more mortis engines before we can change that up. Looks like some rat ogres are still in the fight, but they probably won't be for much longer against our legendary battle junkie Bathilda here. Unlike the other Lamians tend to be, she's more about, you know, manipulation by stabbing you in the brainstem rather than by by the regular Lamian type of manipulation. And by the looks of it, the enemy army is in very bad shape now. Bathilda has found and defeated another Plague Priest, who with one more hit will probably be defeated. And that's got to be a scary sight as well. You're not escaping that one, I don't think, and down goes the poor Plague Priest and a brutal loss of its head. It looks like with the loss of the Plague Priest, the non-unbreakable troops are now shattered, and now it's just a simple matter of destroying those troops that remain, which are going to be the unbreakable Plague Monks. But I'd wager they're not going to enjoy being near to that Mortis Engine and that Reliquary Corruption, or Mortis Engines, I should say. Alright, charge them on in. And there we go. You don't expect Mortis Engines to do sort of direct attack damage. It's that, Mortis Engine effect, as we basically call every sort of similar effect a Mortis Engine effect after the Mortis Engine at this point. And does quite well. I wonder if we could get a Kislevite ally. It would be nice. There are actually lots of vampires in Kislev in the lore, so it kind of would make sense. Although it's kind of complicated there. They even had a vampire queen, but anyway. Let's continue destroying all of the rats here. Plague monks are just about done, and they're the last unit on the field. And they have no hope of dealing any real damage, especially now that we've seen all of our black coaches rack up all of those kills. And thus maximize their own buffs, so their damage resistance is going to be pretty massive. And we barely begun buffing the black coaches themselves as well, where they're going to get higher armor, they're going to get lots of other stuff as well, so I'm excited to see how powerful they'll be by the end of the campaign. Well done to Bathilda, your army is coming along nicely. Alrighty, there we go. Still pretty darn fun. By using only half of Bathilda's army and not using Nosrit's army at all, we were able to let the black coaches do their thing and enjoy themselves. And it was, well, it was pretty darn fun, in my opinion. Of course, the black coaches, a couple will be included in a different army than this one. It's just that this one functions very much differently than the black coaches normally would, by charging into the back lines of enemies pressed up against an anvil of things like Graveguard and whatnot. Well, and Bathilda's army, they work pretty darn well alike this, especially because she does have that ravenous hunger thing that she gives them, or whatever the hunger trait is that allows them to heal up a teensy bit more. We do want 2 more Mortis Engines in this line, so it's 2 units of black coaches per Mortis Engine, so that they can act instead of as 2 groups as 4 distinct groups, with the Mortis Engines each healing up their sets of black coaches. But they'll work for now simply because we need Mortis Engines in other armies, and well, we do have a limited number of them after all. Anyway, this place is ours. Rickwork is gone. We'll capture the settlement like so. Sword of Battle, Dragonbane Gem, both of which we don't care about. Storm of Necromancy, and let's immediately go for the Charnel Pit and the Gibbet there. Bathilda, you are going to move northward towards Karak Azul, like so, and we gotta rebuild the bats, so let's get first of all the Terrorgeist, and then start recruiting fell bats once again. Since I stupidly moved that one army in March stance and then ended up losing all the bats, but what can you do? What can you do, except blame yourself? Anyway, you might as well trade all of the bats to you now. Let's do that. Let's do bat. Like so. And let's try not to get jumped again, at least not by yourself. I mean, I suppose Wilmar can continue moving out now, especially now that he's healing. He is going to be waiting for his zombie dragons, as well as... I might later on replace 2 of our Terrorgeists with Deathshriek Terrorgeists from the Vampires, just because, I mean, why not have 2 different types of Terrorgeists with them? So if we can, we'll do that. If we can't, we'll just keep it to the zombie dragons. I would have loved a Dwarfen ally to have Thunder Barges, but if our vassal here, if the Western provinces ever level up sufficiently, we might be able to get Sky Junks. We can at least use some Sky Lanterns in combination combination with a few things, even though they're kind of mad. They're a little bit better in SFO, and we can use them in combination with some zombie deck dropper handguns and stuff like that. Possibly in the follower army, so this may even be more bats than we might necessarily need here, so we'll see. Anyway, let's keep moving, shall we? What else do we need to do? Wilhelm of the Grim Banquet, you, sir, are moving towards Gorbad Ironclaw. You're gonna move in march stance. Let's give him a chance to actually ambush you or attack you. And rattling guns and plague monks. Interesting. And oh, and he's got gobos from his allies. Aha, so the AI is also taking advantage of the ability to build more than 4 units. It's actually doing a decent job here, and interestingly enough, with them doing this, I wonder if this allows the AI to build armies faster. I also now wonder, does the AI actually have a limit in allegiance? Does it actually rack up points in the same way that the player does? Or no? Or does it just get 1,000,000 points for free, and will it be able to sort of infinitely do this? I guess that's an important question. Anyway, let's level up Gustav Grigorovich's army here. We want him to get Curse of Undeath, Wild Heart, Hunger, Spirit Leech, and... I mean, do we want Raised Dead in a ghostly army? Maybe. I mean, he's still gonna have at least 1 Necromancer. Oh, speaking of the 1 Necromancer, you're in a Nightmare? Good. Just had to double check. We do want to max out Invocation of Nehek because it's pretty important. I think we'll try it without Raised Dead, maybe. I'll try it without Raised Dead. It's going to be difficult because the enemy will be blocked by the garrison there, so we'll have to fight our way through, but it'll be pretty interesting if nothing else. Yeah. Ooh, they do have us the Spirit of Tepok. Ooh, that's going to be iffy. Spirit of Tepok can drop the Lightning Vortex and the Banishment upon us. And both of those are going to be magical damage, and Banishment, light magic versus the ghosties. Should we get Raised Dead? We'll try it with that. Lastly, what do we want to get here? We have the Unliving Host, so it already buffs the units of everything but the Hex Wraiths, meaning we want to buff the Hex Wraiths, meaning we want to get Waking Dead because they're a cavalry type unit. And if you're wondering why Waking Dead rather than Evil Souls, well, you know what? The spell resistance is nice. I didn't really want to double up, but frankly, spell resistance is quite necessary for them, isn't it? And it does buff the Hex Wraiths anyway, so we don't necessarily have to buff them. Oh, you know what? This will do the same thing for the Spirit Hosts and the Hex Wraiths as this would anyway. It's not a big difference, and I do want the spell resistance. Oh, we just don't have to necessarily do the same thing in Kemmler's army, perhaps? On the other hand, it still kind of bothers me to double up like that. You know, I'm not going to do it right now. Let us instead max out Invocation of the Heck, and just in case, let's get Dark Pact because of the extra leadership that it offers, because I'm a little bit concerned about these guys taking heavy damage. And starting to melt away. Arcane Conduit for the Necro. Let's max out Van Hell's Dance Macabre, and let's get Curse of Years as well. We do have the Wind of Death available, though I'm very wary of actually using it because, you know, if it clips our ghost units, they'll instantly melt away. Ooh, Recovery for the Banshee. Ooh, wait. Okay, you already have Ghostly Camaraderie. Yeah, fine. Recovery into Swirling Winds and into Piercing Lament. What else is important here? I suppose we can max out Swirling Winds to further remove enemy speed. I don't know whether the enemy has casters, so that probably won't matter too much. Vigor loss reduction for the ghosts probably doesn't matter all that much. You know what, let's get Grave Ward and Ghost Howl. Just power the Banshees up. They do act as assassins, which is kind of important. Ghostly Camaraderie for you as well. Let's max out Increase no. We should, well, actually I think Piercing Lament isn't super important. Let's max out Increase Mobility just so I don't have to go there again and then go for Bending Reed. Enemy reload time reduction is going to affect Mr. Oshiodel. Let's go into Vampiric Channeling, I guess, and head on into Grotrilex's Lighthouse. Will he fight or will he run? No, he will fight. Close victory, medium casualties. Should be pretty darn interesting a fight. I'd wager. Go. Ooh, that was a near miss there. Anyway, here we go. Should be a pretty interesting fight with the enemy in a settlement against our ghostly units. Now, they probably don't have a lot of magical damage available to them, which means it's going to be tough for them to do significant damage to us. Though I do wonder, I think that no, it says magic tower, so it'll probably do magical explosive damage. Okay, definitely gotta watch out for the tower dishing out damage to us, and frankly, what I probably should have done is send the Lord to destroy the tower first, and then go after Oshiotl, but, well, I decided to go after Oshiotl instead. Anyway, here we go. Let's see how we do in a siege, considering that we have no, no easy way to get good take good advantage of our high mobility. It looks like the Spirit of Tepok is going to move on in, casting Banishment in our way, so we move away the rest of our ghosties, allowing the Spirit of Tepok to land upon our units of Sirens. Now, the Spirit of Tepok does do magical damage, and we do have to watch out for the poor Sirens getting obliterated, especially with the tower firing to support. The other ghosties are going to move in, and the two Banshees have sighted the Spirit of Tepok and will try to focus it down as the critical target, since our Necrarch Lord here is going after Oshiotl himself. And we'll whack away at him with his staff by the looks of it, while casting the occasional Spirit Leech. Kroxigors will rush on past and move into our lines of Sirens and Ghosts and, well, they're all Ghosts, whatnot. And that's probably going to be holding a while. I do notice that the Sirens are sort of in front of the formation, together with a lot of the Spirit Hosts, which means that the Karen Wraiths might have a little bit of a difficult time moving forward and attacking the Kroxigors. The unfortunate aspect of this is the fact that while the enemy is going to have a difficult time getting through our lines, we're going to have a difficult time doing damage with Sirens and Spirit Hosts, as the Karen Wraiths are the damage dealers here. Not to worry though, we've got other damage dealers in tow down below, as the Hex Wraiths continue to cause havoc in the enemy back lines. They've moved past what choke points the enemy had filled with their melee units, and are now obliterating any skirmishers or any other range units that they can find. Once again, I do love my Hex Wraiths, and well, in the few times that we've seen them so far, they've already been a massive headache for the enemies they've faced. Alright, it looks like this choke point is completely broken through, and we are streaming towards the enemy's sort of main capture point. Oshiotl is down to maybe 10% of his HP, though he has cleverly, perhaps, moved into the center of the formation of his Kroxigors, hiding among them. But that's alright, we do have the ability to hit him with Spirit Leech, even if our Necrarch is now stuck among those Kroxigors as well. Yeah, don't have too much places to run Oshiotl, and I noticed that he has no spell resistance either, huh? So wait, if he faces off Kairos, and he only has 5.5k HP, so Kairos will just hit him with, like, I don't know, a few blue fires, and Oshiotl will die? Maybe because he's such a small target, the blue fires are more likely to miss him. Next time I played Tzeentch, I'm going to be curious to see. Anyway, he's down to 292 HP, and he's shattered, and, well, he won't be coming back from that one. We have captured the point, so the tower is gone, and, ooh, for some reason, an enemy Razor Dawn Hunting Pack has decided to try to flank us, but too late, perhaps not realizing how quickly our Hex Wraiths will mow down the skinks once the choke points were filled up with all the enemy melee units. Alright, and the Ghosties, Karen Wraiths in the lead this time, will rush towards that Razor Dawn Hunting Pack and will probably rip them apart fairly quickly. No magical damage on these guys, but they do have bleed, which will probably cause at least a little bit of damage to our units. Huh. I'm curious. It's a little bit surprising that the Razor Dawn Hunting Packs don't have reflect melee damage. I feel like they would. I mean, they do cause bleed, which is kind of a sort of similar sort of deal, because anybody in contact with them will start bleeding. But I feel like maybe they should have a small amount of reflect melee damage. Like give them +5. They're always going to be vulnerable in melee anyway. Might as well make whoever attacks them suffer for it. Anyway, the bounce power shifts to about 90% in our favor. Oshiotl has died to Spirit Leech somewhere, and now it's just a matter of time grinding the enemy down. It looks like the Kroxigors are still holding quite admirably, I might add. And down to about half HP now, and they've been holding for almost 4 minutes straight. And we have moved the Cairn Rights out front to do a little bit more damage, since the Sirens and the Spirit Hosts would take too long, and it's still taking a while. Not to worry, over in the background we can see that telltale balefire glow of the, or ghostly glow, I should say, of the ghosties. And the Hex Wraiths are moving in, and soon they will charge into the rear lines of the Kroxigors and obliterate them. Not that by the looks of it there's any need, as the last of the enemy units will shatter, and with that the battle is ours. Cold One Riders will attempt to escape here, as well as the Kroxigors, only to get run down by the Hex Wraiths. And all that will be left of this place is a haunted ruin. Alrighty, a really nice fight. So it definitely did suffer some losses, though it was mostly HP damage in this particular battle, but we did have to work for it. Very much a distributed sort of battle, as we had to run down all those annoying skirmishers and chameleon skings from Ashiotla, and I would say we were having a fairly difficult time actually breaking through the lines of Kroxigors. Their damage shows that they weren't really doing much damage, but we were having, it was taking a long time to cut our way through them, though it looks like the Soul Reapers at 18k damage did the best, followed by at 15.5k. Followed by 15.5k the Misty Terrors, and it looks like one of the unnamed Hex Wraiths got the win that time, even just slightly over the Chillgeists, so and good for them all. Pretty fun. Decisive victory. Ashiotla is down. We're going to occupy Gratrilex's Lighthouse, and we got Vanguard deployment. This is actually a nice pickup, because it now gives Vanguard deployment for the for our Lord. I do wish it was also on the Necro, but this allows the Lord to move together with the rest of the ghostly units, so frankly I really like it. Another Trickster Shard. Man, this is like the 8th one. We just keep picking them up in this campaign. I wonder why. Maybe the vampires are predisposed to pick that particular item up more. Who knows? Also, did I do any naming last episode? I'm not sure that I did. Let's do, I don't know, let's do a few names. Since you guys gave me 8 million ghoul names, I'll just name a few more ghouls, I guess. So I guess, seriously, stop it with the ghoul names. I can't build more ghouls. I love them, but I can't. Let's see. What do we have here? Smeagools, like so. If I spelled that right. And you will be 2 ghoul for Skewel. I can't believe that fit. Oh wow, we still had space. Okay, that's surprising. Right. That's a few more cool names, but seriously, stop it. Let's see. Oh, the Bone Giants. We did have them debut, and then I never named any of them, did I? I did intend to, and we should have them fight some more. In fact, might even have them fight a little bit more this turn. So let's name some. Bone Giant 1, you shall be Bolt of the Unliving. And you shall be Calcium Colossus. Yes. Alright, any more? You know what, if while we're naming sort of unique units in addition to the not unique units of the ghouls, because there are so many, I was meaning to name at least one of the Crabby Boys units. Let's name both the Crabby Boys units. Okay, in fact, you know what, I'm going to take this name for myself. I'm going to call you Crabby Boys, because I always call them Crabby Boys anyway, and that's not going to change. And then I'll name the other one Click Clack Claws. Lovely. All right. Good enough for now? Maybe a couple more. Maybe a couple more, since I forgot to do any names last episode, or at least I assumed that I forgot. I'm not 100% sure. We have some zombies named in Gorsty's army, and Gorst has the tanky zombies, so we're actually not likely to die. So Rob's zombies for you. And with the Shambling Horde and Zombie Bombies, you shall be... need coffee. Makes sense. Alright, who else needs names? Let me just see here. Don't you have some Morngulls? Oh wow, nobody named any Morngulls? Or maybe I forgot to name the Morngulls. Let's name at least one. Hollowed victims. Like so. And I think that's good enough for now. Alright, let's get back to whatever it was we were doing. Who is up next? Frederick von Carlsbrook. You...
This will do.
Could also actually use a drum, but anyway. Let's move you to Volotrax. Hopefully we can occupy it. And go to the... No, I moved to the wrong side. I remember the settlement. I think you have to land here for that to work. And so I guess we're stuck taking attrition for a turn. Oh well, what can you do? And did screw that one up. Yeah, there's several settlements that are messed up here, and there are a bunch of settlements that are messed up. Here. Pack Ice Bay, you can't land in it. You can only land here and go around. There's, I think, at least one in Cathay that's broken as well, which is odd. But anyway, Red Duke, you are up next, sir. You... Oh, yes. Grom the Paunch, you've actually caught up to him. Well, isn't that lovely? I guess we're going for Grommy. Let's level up a few points or get a few skill points and then head on in. So you have Dread Knights and Legions of the Dead. I don't believe you need anything else in this particular army. And, oh, I did want to check something, though. I mean, I guess, do we level you up fightingly? What the heck are you saying, Ruinous? Let's get you some of the spell casting is what I meant to say. Invocation of Heck. Dance Macabre. Mostly the spells that we're likely to use a lot, and I guess Raise Dead as well. Red Duke wouldn't turn his nose up at that. Alright, let's do the Necros as well. You have Dance Macabre maxed out. Ooh, I do like Onslaught for when attacking. It's not much, but it's something. Isn't everything. Let's get Onslaught. And you know what? If we're doing Onslaught anyway, we may as well max out Potent. So let's go Miscast Base Chance Reduction into Potent, and then go start on Dark Desires, I guess. And we should try to get Menflesh, and we'll maybe get Gaze of Nagash. I don't like the spell personally. It's fine, but I just generally don't like magic missiles. They're too risky. Let's say I don't like gambling with it. Actually, I do like gambling with some things, but not with the magic missiles. Too many of them like to smash into the ground below, and even when they don't, for a cost of 11 mana, it's a lot. It's a lot to do a bit of damage. You can overcast the Van Hel's Dance Macabre for cheaper and buff your essentially either your entire army or a good portion of your army, since it's a big area, for 45 seconds with 35 melee attack for only 10 mana. Whereas for the Gaze of Nagash, or more expensive cast, you can do a little bit of damage to a lord or a big single entity. Not worth it in my opinion. Anyway, here, our leadership size is good, but I think Ghoulish Tendencies has to be the start, because these guys do have a tendency to get focused by everything, and it's dangerous. Oh, right. I was like, wait, why aren't you leveled? You are, or you were leveled, or the guy that you replaced was leveled, and then I didn't level up the guy that, yeah, I didn't level up the replacement, which was absolutely my bad. Let's go training. Might want another White King here. Once again, one to lead the cav, maybe, and then one to lead the infantry. Certainly something we'll think about. Are we close to rank 7? We are actually close to rank 7, so we can go We Are the Elite and do that. And I would generally like to buff armies. Red New Trainer isn't all that useful, though. I'm gonna say... I mean, we could go through... You know what? Unnatural Image might be a decent option, because we will be fighting Britonia, though I would like to get Flow of Battle first, and then we'll think about doing that. Alright, that looks good. Time to declare war on Grom the Paunch. At least I think it's time. Wait, give me 1 second. If we do, you will immediately be able to attack us at Paravent, but I don't think you can take it. You gotta remember that we don't have a real other army here. And we'll have to loop back around to take Castle Carcassonne, though I guess we could send John Doe around with his little zombie horde to take Quinel, which I guess is fine. And we're not gonna bother leveling you right now. Anyway. I wonder if Grom the Paunch will attempt to flee. You know what? We'll attack him with just the one army so that he maybe doesn't run. Give it a try. Yes, declare war. Yes, ask everybody to declare war. Will he run? Will he stay or will he go? He will stay. Lovely, Grommy, lovely. I feel like he would have left the port if he could advance with the zombies as well. His army is nothing too crazy in here. 1 unit of trolls, goblin bolt throwers and stuff. I think he hasn't leveled up past tier 3, so it makes sense that he only has tier 1 to 3 units at the current time. And besides, he should have a lot of pump wagons and stuff, and pump wagons are his signature unit, and they are low tier units. So anyway, go.
Rip their souls out.
Alrighty, here we go. An inevitability here, as we will be facing off against Grom the Paunch, and the Red Duke was always fated to do so, as Grommy has done quite a lot of damage to Bretonnia, and Bretonnia shall soon be the land of the dead under the Red Duke instead, especially since Kemmler has moved away into the mountains. Anyway, we have a lot of knights available to us, and unfortunately for Grom's army type, that's very bad for him. Cavalry is generally not a great matchup for the pump wagons and other such things, as great as they are against infantry. Granted, the spiky rollers, though, when buffed up, can actually do massive amounts of damage to cavalry. I just happen to be pretty fragile while doing it. Anyway, the Red Duke on his zombie dragon will touch down and strike at Grom the Paunch. Frankly, the mass of the zombie dragon is really helping us out in doing this sort of thing, as we can push through whatever units come around. Looks like a few squigs have peeled away with, frankly, a bunch of fast movers. Trolls, goblin wolf riders, etc. moving towards our cavalry before we get a chance to charge on in. I am a little bit surprised by this, but impressed. I'll let them try. It's perhaps the only chance they will get. And the Blood Knights will of course move towards attacking the enemy trolls here, as that's a better matchup for us, as the Black Knights won't be able to do much, if anything, to said trolls, while the Black Knights hold back the enemy squigs and such. And the Red Duke continues following Grommy, who attempted to escape using his own mass and mobility and speed, but unfortunately for him, we can lower that significantly with El Sif, and on top of that, he doesn't have the mass to push through all of those Black Knights, which will corral all the squigs and also keep Grom the Paunch locked up where the Red Duke can attack him. Our melee units continue to approach, but once again they're Graveguard and they're very slow, and frankly the cavalry are doing number on the enemy army. So I'm not sure that the melee units will have all that much to do. And the pump wagons are collapsing on the right flank in the same manner as they did on the left. We are still taking a little bit of artillery fire from the, enemy artillery. And we did leave the artillery alone until, while the enemy's right flank's fast movers collapsed, and now we can charge into the artillery as well. Grommy is still alive, but, is not happy about the whole situation, is wavering, tired, and terrified, just like me in real life. And is now completely surrounded and stuck as well. A few hits from the Red Duke, I'm sure, will bring him down. Just got to focus him down now, which the Red Duke will turn to doing. Our melee infantry have nearly arrived. The balance of power is already at about 90% in our favor, and the terrible matchup forcing the enemy into an early loss in this particular battle by the looks of it. Still get to see the White King lead at least a few of our Graveguard through towards the Goblins. That's got to be very, very scary for the goblins as well. The silent, perfectly disciplined Graveguard moving in ranks, basically impervious to the tiny little daggers of the gobos there. And it looks like Grom the Paunch is just about done. One more leap from the Red Duke, and we'll bring him down. Oh, don't tell me that was a miss. Oh, come on, man. That would have been perfectly on cue. All right, try it again. And are you gonna lift off, really? All right, all right, there we go. That should do it. And down goes Grommy. Nice little meal for the dragon. Oh, wow, what the heck? Grom's physics are kind of interesting. He went sort of flying forward and then flying backward. Huh, I gotta pay attention to the next time I see him collapse off his chariot there. Anyway, of course, as Grom falls, so do the rest of the gobos lose hope and give it up. And the battle is ours, and we don't even need to run down the stragglers, as a settlement battle, and the enemy will not escape. But our Black Knights can enjoy themselves a little bit by sending a few more gobos flying, and just because they can. Black Knights are whites after all, and they retain some agency, so I'd like to think they're just having fun playing Goblin Kickball here. There we are. All right, there we go. Poor Garami. I feel bad for the not-so-little guy. This was a really bad matchup for him. We just had way too much cav, and we didn't even really need to use the graveyard, mostly because our cav would have prevented most of Grom's mobile army from doing anything. We just have too much armor with the buffs on the Black Knights for them to get through. Bad matchup for him. Sorry, Grommy. We're gonna occupy Brionne for ourselves. Diplomatic relations with High Elves doesn't matter. Causes terror when fighting greenskins also doesn't matter, because we basically, almost all of our stuff causes terror anyway. John Doe, huh, you're able to just reach this army, though, without... Well, you do have buffs on the zombies. I wonder if you'd be able to auto-resolve this. I'm somewhat doubtful of it, but it would be nice if we could just knock that army down without having to worry about it. Even if you are a follower lord, we have no levels on anybody here. Let's just in case. I'm gonna say Dance Macabre, and we're gonna be 1 point short of Wind of Death, unfortunately, which would really help here. The big problems would be the well, everything would be a problem here, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And if you die, you die. That's just the nature of having necromancer pets. And I don't know, you're close victory. It's fine. Now he's in March stance, yes, which is great for us. No, we're not gonna bother with you. We got a Rod of Flaming Death and an Ogre Blade. Oh, one was stolen, I take it, and one was found, which is also fine. We'll return the captives. We need neither one of those items, and frankly, we'll probably try to turn the Rod of Flaming Death into something more useful. I, in fact, did decide to turn all the Rods of Flaming Death into items earlier, because I just don't use them enough, and it's just another sort of thing to try to remember which vampires have them, and yeah. They don't make a big enough difference on the battlefield, and frankly, fireballing your own units by accident when they're vulnerable to fire damage is also iffy and somewhat likely. Anyway, John Doe, keep acting as a follower army, please. And ooh, that also reminds me, I did want to generate another, let's say here, another tech thief. We are a little bit more curiosity. We've started to use the tech thieves for a lot of not just tech thievery, but also for assassinating things, because they're sort of in between both. But there are times when it does feel like we should maybe be using them for assassinating more, at least now that we have close to 1,000, around 1,000 of the, well, tech. My point is, we need to have a few extras, not exactly the number. Let us do Vampire Corruption for local province. This, and then we want to ignore this stuff. We just want to go into Ancient Binding Rituals. Also gotta remember that we get buffs for Black Coaches and for Mortis Engines from Necros, which means Bathilda will need a few Steed, most likely, riding Necros in her army, just to buff those up. Further, take them as far as they can go. Huh, actually wonder... We get a +3 melee, yeah, but it also gives speed for them, which is nice. Yeah, we'll need the speed, especially on the Mortis Engines. Salt units, and I guess we'll try to go through Potent here as well. Own armies in region onslaught is still helpful, and coming into Potent into... I guess boost income. Alright. Good enough, and I will name you later. Name me now. Did we ever do a standard? Wait. 1 second. We have a grave robber, but not a grave digger? I should be embarrassed. I'm pretty sure... Okay, yeah, I have grave digger as one of the suggestions anyway, but I was like, well, what the heck? This is just seems to be a fairly standard one. I guess you're not really digging graves so much as digging stuff out of them, but, well, that doesn't really specify anyway. Anyway, let's continue. Recruiter, you. You're supposed to swap units with Norbert so that Norbert can go transfer the Sylvanian crossbows to Vlad, meaning you're gonna go down here, take these units, and then go. Alright, Gorsty boy. You... There's actually several things that I would like you to do. First of all, Mikhail the bodybuilder... Well, you know what, Gorsty, I would like you to besiege Pigbarter right now. I would like to see if they want to sally. And Mikhail, you can start moving this way. I'd rather not land in the corruption territory. You, if they're willing to sally out for one last fight with Nurgle, I'm willing to give them a shot, but if they're not, well then they can just die.
Yes. Shuffle this way.
And they can just die to auto-resolve next turn if that's the way they want to play it. I would also potentially like to get a drum for Gorsty to give armor to the zombies. Maybe even 2 drums. Well, no, we're giving him tanky zombies. The second drum, yeah, at the very least the one drum for the buffs. Your zombies are not high rank yet, so we don't get any benefit out of any of those points. We do want to get probably Dark Pact for them. Well, you know, let's get Grave Ward for you. Let's get Thrallmaster as well. And Danse Macabre. It is being used constantly. And zombies are cheap, so I don't really care about the other stuff. You guys are both leveled, right? 4 and 4? Yeah, you're fine. At least for now. At least I don't want to deal with you. I'll deal with them between the episodes. I'll let them keep racking up the points because we're leveling constantly right now because we still have that profit buff up and running for a little while. And we definitely got to make use of it. Ludwig von Deal, I believe you're next. Yes. Potential fight here, so let's level. You want to get Wildheart, the Hunger, Life Leeching, Hekara's Noble Blood, and Curse of Undeath. And that's all you got for now. You are, well, you haven't been used as much as other armies have, after all. And then you, sir, I'm gonna say max out, let's say Wind of Death and Curse of Years, at least for now. Alright, now, we don't know what's in Myrmidons, but we do know it's a walled settlement, and I feel like I'd rather fight this in the field rather than have the Calcium Colossus and the Bolt of the Unliving and the other Bone Giants destroy everybody, so we'll pop into Vampiric Channeling. We'll see if these guys are willing to fight on the field. They are not willing to fight on the field. Unless... Oh, you got pushed too far away. Oh, and now we're stuck at Myrmidons. Really? They weren't willing to fight on the field here? They should have. Now their army is too weak to bother with, unfortunately for them. Alright, Banner of Swiftness on you. Although, maybe we should actually put it on the Necromancer so that he can keep up. But anyway, it's just basic clan rats, not worth our time. We'll find a bigger army. If anything, we could take Skaven Blight with these guys before Manny or anybody else gets here, so there's that. I just wanted to make sure that we took these provinces because I would like to trade them to our allies, or at least whichever one works for us, in order to acquire Barak Var, which will be part of our provinces. So keep building military stuff. Oh, there's pottery here. Kilns, what about pottery? They actually don't really do anything for us other than the trade goods, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and in fact we should probably take a look at them in a second. Quick deal. What do we have to trade goods? I've been meaning to try to get a trade agreement going with Morathi. Minus 0.02. How much money does she want for this? 1,000 gold? Yeah, I'll take it. I want to try to get Morathi a little bit friendlier. It's a little bit too obvious for Slanesh Giggle. And try to vassalize her at some point. There's a few Dark Elf units that I would like to get. In particular, I want to get the Bloodwrack Cauldrons, if you can actually recruit them. I unfortunately had the issue in the Skulltaker campaign that for some reason you couldn't recruit any Medusae. But the Bloodwrack Cauldrons, if we could get them, would allow us to, like the War Drums, buff up units even further. And I really love stacking those aura buffs and support units with ours as much as possible. Anyway, Bone Daddy. I guess we could move you around Bitterstone Mine. We don't know that anybody's at Stone Mine Tower, but Body Snatcher can find out. And if Bone Daddy dies to the Ekrondorks, well then he dies to the Ekrondorks, that's his problem. Alright, who's up next? I was going to move him down here because he's supposed to follow Kadan, but frankly these two can work together until they split apart. Heinrich Kemmler, you're still besieging Karakazor. And that's obviously, yeah, compared to the battle against Belagar himself, that's not worth our time, so let's occupy it. A decent likelihood we trade the mountains to the Sartosans as well, so just I guess keep the military structures, we'll see what they're worth. Don't collect the income. Mostly because I don't want to deal with all of this territory, and to allow the Sartosans to keep a contiguous empire, while our own is also hopefully contiguous. It's a plan, anyway. Doesn't always work out. At least, hopefully we kill Kairos before he causes any problems. Gorsti is fine. Recruiter... This is the bad recruiter, he's fine. Wallach. Do we bother chasing down Sadrina? Can she move past Sotek's trail? Not really. But I think she'll just destroy herself attacking Sotek's trail anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I also... there's a Skull Island here. Damn, I also what? Okay, that completely derailed my thought, and I have no idea what I was about to say, but you're gonna head to that Skull Island, because... materials at sea, once. We just need to get it once. And I do feel like we've been gathering a lot of islands, and we still haven't been able to manage even one. Alright, come on, Hekenerus. You can do it. Please, materials at sea. Let's see what we got here. Take the healing so that you can stick around and get us more islands, like this one up here. What do we got? Nothing. Damn. Alright, Tyrion, I'm just gonna ignore you. Keep moving away. And stay in the Great Ocean, I guess. Try to move towards the Sea Corps here. One of these days... Oh, there's another island down there. I wonder how long Tyrion's gonna chase us around for. We heal more here? Or in the Great Ocean? Not in the Great Ocean, which is interesting. Probably here then? And I'm just going to assume Tyrion can't reach us in regular stance? No, he cannot. Alright, so we'll grab the island, then we'll keep moving. As long as we have this particular army. Who's up next? If anybody. Elvira. You probably need another artillery piece, but we don't yet have access to fire rain rockets, and I would really like that. You also do need to channel. We can move you together with Bathilda towards Karakazul. They would also work fairly nicely fighting the Chaos Dwarfs, though probably not at Black Fortress. Because of the... Well, we don't want to lose all these guys to frickin' bombardment from the Dreadquakes. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, though. Huh. Looks like it's a tier 5. Really? The Overlords of Sharduk are the ones? I think they're the only faction I've seen that have actually grown to tier 5. That's kind of shocking. Maybe they have a lot of buffs to growth, the Chaos Dwarfs. I guess we'll know, because we got a Chaos Dwarf campaign coming up as well. Anyway, Elvira... just wait on building the drum. You know what? Channel and start moving this way. We still have to get rid of Tretch completely before we do anything here. Alright, who is up next? Oh, Vladi. Okay, so all of you guys need to separate. So, Zacharias, you're gonna grab Oakenhammer, and you're gonna occupy it. Vladi, you're gonna grab Zufbar. Occupy. Yeah, Storm of Necromancy. I really wish it wouldn't say it every single time. Not that it's a big deal. Out of resolve and occupy. Like so, and wouldn't you... another Trickster Shard, wouldn't you know it's Storm of Necromancy. And then Werner von Woldenhoff, you're gonna grab Schwarzhofen. Not having Schwarzhofen is just, it's disturbing. Sad and alarming is what it... Oh! What is... What the heck? Why does the auto-resolve hate you? In what way are a bunch of orc boys... I mean, I guess orc biggins are there, and in SFO they're quite a bit more powerful, but... This is... We got plenty of Graveguard stuff here, game. What are you talking about? Alright, I will do that one between the episodes, because that's a hilariously silly waste of time. Even in max speed, it's... Oh, but we want to end the turn, don't we? Yeah, we want to end the turn. Alright, well, Werner, you're just a follower lord, or potentially... Wait, maybe if we get enough points in the Unliving Host... No, that'll still kill it. Alright, fine, max speed it. I just don't want to re-recruit these guys, and we will still use this army to sort of grab territories that, that we don't got with the other stuff. I think we need to adjust the army, then. I guess the auto-resolve is saying that the doggos and the bats are so weak that it's not letting them do anything. I don't know, just the auto-resolve being wacky. Granted, we don't have any support in here. Maybe that's causing problems. We'll see. I sincerely doubt it. I mean, yeah, these guys aren't as buff as they would be with, well, you know, buffs and support, but they're still Graveguard. They're not, but yeah, I don't know. You guys just make a line, such as it is, and then you can be in the midst of all that, group up and start moving towards the enemy. Enemy does have a fair bit of cav as well, and we'll use the black coaches to hit them in the back from, let's say, this angle. And same with the doggos. Alright, doggos go here, and doggos go here. Batties go. Well, the Batties can actually go ahead of everything. Alright, you're group 1 and you're locked up with the Black Knights. You can each charge into a unit of Boar Boys, and then the Black Knights with sword and board can stick around while you guys continue to go cycle charging. Group 3, let's say group 4, group 5. Maybe I should have put the doggos in different groups as the... Okay, fine. Group 6 and Group 7. Am I over-preparing for this? Yes. Start battle. Guys, Bobby, move forward. Enemy will maybe move and maybe not move. Get ready to move. Get ready to move. Max speed it. Doggos and stuff go into the hidden places. And let us get you guys moving to hit these Boar Boys in the back. You guys get ready to charge them. You guys can get ready to continue moving up. You guys go. Bats get ready to annoy. And Kev, you're going to be slow moving through those woods, but well, you got to do what you got to do. All right, speed it back up to normal. And ooh, doggos, you've charged out ahead a little bit too far. All right, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The Boar Boys, fortunately, are slow, so we're not super concerned about them. Let's move the Black Knights around while these guys continue to charge on in. Alright, you guys hold. Keep holding. Alright, charge on through. No, I want those Boar Boys to, the regular Orc Boys to peel away, so we're not going to do that yet. You go after the Orc Arrow Boys, and there we go. Our Black Knights have smashed into the enemy Boar Boys, which means we can now move around. Black Coaches tie up those range units. You want to maybe drop a... where's the enemy Lord? Right here. And drop a Spirit Leech upon him. The boys are still moving together. Alright, Bats, it's time for you to go. Doggos, it's time for you to go as well. And you maybe drop a heal on the most hurt unit of Graveguard. There we go. They're peeling away now, meaning as soon as they're engaged, we send in you. And you know what? We're going to use one of the units of Black Knights to add mass to the other unit. Same with you. Alright, Doggos, chase them down. Alright, move away all of you. And alright, chase and charge on in, you charge into those guys. Alright, doggos and bats, you are fine, help chase. I don't want the bats to do anything crazy here. And then you, black coaches, smash into the enemy's back lines. Doggos, you can continue moving around, maybe chase down the boys or something. And then you guys use your lances to hit the enemy in the back. Alright, this unit of Black Knights is a little bit damaged now, so we'll rush it through. You know what, you guys can charge on through while we allow you guys to heal up. Spirit Leech for the enemy Lord once again. And you can attack him directly, and you can also heal up the hurt unit of Graveguard. Certainly no Necromancer here, but it'll be fine. Alright, time to send everybody in. A few more morale shocks to the enemy's main line, and they will probably all shatter. There we go, I see most of them running. And there we go. Yeah, not a problem. I don't know what the auto-resolve was talking about. And that's with, you know, not taking it particularly seriously, but that was obvious. Why auto-resolve? Why? Somebody did suggest we lower the difficulty when auto-resolve was being silly, that we lower the difficulty and then we do the auto-resolve and then up the difficulty again, and I gotta remember to try that a couple of times. And I still gotta look into a mod that's just like, you know, a one-button sort of, you win auto-resolve without screwing over your army or something like that. Or even just a button that specifically for the auto-resolve adjusts the difficulty and then readjusts it or something, just so it doesn't screw you over for no reason. Anyway, I occupy the place. Alright, and we'll adjust your army by raising stuff with a recruiter next turn, because there's a good high-level marker here. And then hopefully it'll adjust this army to the point that it can auto-resolve without, you know, crying that it'll die. You're going to go into Repress Mortals, and you are going to grab the Cursed Fields. Especially with our numbers of Vargulfs rising. You also don't need all these guys. They were in here as a holdover from when we occupy... Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Gradnar might attack you. Well, if he does, and you will either survive or you will not. As is generally the case. have any spells that might help you? You have Spirit Leech. Oh, you have Command of the Unliving. You'll be fine. You'll be just fine. You can use the overcast version of it to summon Crypt Horrors. Even if they don't last long, you'll obliterate this little tiny army. Alright, anybody up next? I think that was the end turn, and while we do potentially have a few buildings that we might be building, I think I'll skip them for now and just do them either between the episodes or next turn. Unassigned skill points, building upgrades, outpost upgrades, commandment, we will not skip. We will instead, ooh, yes, definitely repress mortals. And we gotta remember to, next turn, activate... Oh, I know what we're doing next turn. Skull Staff. Yes. Alright, end turn. Assuming we don't get attacked immediately. Which is still a distinct possibility. There it is. Gorsty. Alright, we got another Nurgle battle. It's a decent one. We only got the one army to rely upon, so we don't have nearly as many Vargulfs to rally around. Should be reasonably fun. While the turn was ending, before we get started, this is clearly going to be a longer episode, but we just barely were short of the engagement threshold this time around. I'll do a grace period of like an episode or two, especially as people need time to catch up or whatnot. But if we don't reach the engagement threshold a couple more times, we will be sending the going back to shorter 30-ish minute episodes instead. So do keep that in mind if you're enjoying those. Engagement threshold remains 300 likes, 50 comments, fight.
There will be blood.
Alrighty, there will be blood indeed, though, well, so at least a decent amount of it will be ours, as the enemy are obviously demonic and will be banished. Anyway, here we go. For those that don't particularly care for Nurgle versus Gorst, can rejoice, as this is the last settlement belonging to the Poxmakers, and as soon as Gorst defeats them here, we will be able to destroy their faction. I do imagine we should be able to win this without trouble, even if Gorst doesn't have his supporting army. We're going to take a pretty nice position here. The enemy is too slow to react, just like our own faction would be if we had a lot of infantry, though they do have a lot of flyers and plague toads. I kind of like those. I kind of like the sheer amount. I don't know whether it's from the enemies building them or from the garrison. I didn't check, but I like the sort of more mobile stuff. With a Nurgle, definitely feels a lot different than the very, very slow-moving Plague Bearer lines. Can't wait to do a Nurgle run as well eventually. It'll be pretty fun, especially in SFO. Anyway, looks like the Flyers are going to go out ahead and ignore the zombies and instead try to surround and destroy those corpse guards. Good move by the AI, as the Necromancers are fairly vulnerable, especially when they're not surrounded by zombies, like here. We're going to send our Black Knights, who are waiting behind the zombies, together with the Vargulfs to help out a little bit. We're obviously not keeping the Black Knights in this army, but until we trade them, until Gorst is ready to have his stack completed. That's what we're doing. Of course, more of the enemy fast movers are here, but being out ahead of a lot of the enemy plague bearers and Nurglings is not such a good idea for the Nurglish army. They are just going to get themselves destroyed by the hard-hitting Black Knights and Vargulfs before their meat shields essentially arrive. And the plague bearers still move at 31 speed, and it's even lowered, so go figure. They're still faster than most of our infantry. But I'm not so sure that's going to help them out. Anyway, Gorsty, of course, still in the middle of everything, using his Immortus engine effect. Oh, wow, what the heck? Did he just get sent flying by a single Plague Toad? How much mass do you have, Gorst? 1,500? Huh, that's really not that much. 750? No, 1,250 on the Black Knights with somebody. You have barely more mass than a single Black Knight. Wow, that's a really light corpse cart. I mean, bodies are heavy. It's a big old cart with a giant pile of bodies on it, plus Gorst in some armor, and the corpse guard itself. You'd think it would have more mass than a single knight like this without flesh. It's just a skeleton. Granted, I do have the lances and barding and armor, but I would think that wouldn't weigh as much as a full-on corpse guard, or nearly as much. Go figure. I think Gorst might need a little bit of a mass upgrade. Anyway, in fact, out of curiosity, yeah, the other corpse carts are the same, so he weighs exactly the same as a regular corpse cart. Interesting. Anyway, the enemies of Plague Bearers, their meat shields are at last here, but they've lost all their flyers in attempting their first charge. And that means it's not going to go so well for them. And Gorsty zombies don't hit nearly as hard as our other Necromancer zombies, as odd as that may seem. They only have the 28 weapon strength, whereas the other zombies we have are over 40. Which does mean they'll take a little bit of a longer time to deal with it, but these guys are much more heavily armored than the other zombies are, and with the buffs that we have, their melee defense, or melee attack rather, is not so bad. As long as we keep spamming Van Hell's Danse Macabre as well, and in this big old blob of zombies, all the zombies should have enough melee attack to at least slowly dish out damage to the enemy army. Or perhaps not so slowly. We can see that the damage is certainly there. I just really want to put some rotting leviathans in this army. I think it'll be pretty neat with the giant piles of zombies sort of moving around them, like around, I don't know, like a big old iceberg or something. We just need our allies to tech up to them. Of course, the Vargulfs do work well enough for our purposes until then, and while these guys are going to go into our Vargulf army because they've racked up all the XP in that time, we might temporarily use Vargulfs with Gorst until we can replace them with rotting leviathans, just for a little bit of variety. Not a lot, maybe 2, maybe 4, depending on how much space we have after the other stuff we want to put in here, like a drum to further buff the zombies' armor. I want to see what heights we can take them to. Anyway, looks like the enemy army is in really bad shape now. We've once again peeled away our Black Knights and are charging into the back lines of the enemies now that they are all engaged, though the enemy units that are sort of more separated from each other are suffering quite a bit more. Plague Bearers and Nurglings alike in the center of the enemy formation are melting away. And by the looks of it, this actually won't be a particularly long battle, despite being zombies versus Nurgle. It looks like without the enemy's ability to rely on choke points, we're able to distribute the damage nicely among their army, and of course without Kugath and stuff healing everybody up. Lots of great work from the Vargulfs as usual, and solid rear charges and flanking charges from our Black Knights as well meant quite a bit more damage delivery than we otherwise would have had when fighting zombies versus Plague Bearers in choke points. And oh, one other big difference is that we have no Beasts of Nurgle here this time around, which is what Gorst's army was definitely struggling against before. Certainly it'll be nice to put something in his army that can more easily deal with the Beasts of Nurgle-like units, if we should encounter things like that again. Anyway, one of the Vargulfs, or 2 of the Vargulfs, together have ganged up on and defeated the enemy Herald of Nurgle in there somewhere, who is getting up, but the Vargulfs are just waiting for you to get up. Alright, get up, buddy. Not for long, though. And he's up again, and he's down again, and ripped in half. There we go. Alright, with the fall of the Herald of Nurgle, the bounce power is at about 90% in our favor. We're going to turn our sights upon, come on mittens, upon the enemy Plague Ridden, who's down to about 20% of its HP. Gorsty, of course, still in the middle of the enemy formation, having done 102 kills and 60,000 damage. Gotta love those Mortis Engine effects. Working quite well for him, if nothing else. And more or less all of our zombies are still fine. We still have that healing cap, haven't suffered sufficient damage here, without those soul grinders that Kugath had and without Kugath's own damage. The zombies aren't nearly under threat, but man, when those soul grinders, when Kugath were firing into our blob of zombies, every single hit taking like half of their HP, that was pretty threatening to him. I'm gonna be interested to see how we fare against either Goldtooth or the Golden Order with Gorst. Mobbing piles of ogres, or getting hit by Gelt's magics, Gehenna's Golden Hounds and Searing Dooms, as well as his fire rockets. Or Hellstorm rocket, that is. Anyway, there we go. Not nearly as long as the other Kugath fights, and okay, that made me dizzy. And my bad. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, pretty fun fight. Go figure. Alright, very, very nice, Gorsty. Hardly surprising as you've defeated Nurgle many a time before, and your army has only grown stronger since. I did notice that you felt a lot faster with that banner of swiftness on you. Still slow, but certainly able to outpace your zombies, which, if nothing else, is quite nice. Speaking of the zombies, at 19k, Rob's zombies have a swell debut, just named, and out killing everybody. We should probably give one of them Razor Standard as well. Anyway, with that, I do believe Nurgle's faction is destroyed, unless I'm mistaken. But I guess we'll see at the end of the turn, presuming nobody else attacks us. There's Sadrina, about to be real sad, as she and her faction are destroyed as well. Hopefully we got a free item out of that. Ekit Claw most likely wants peace. His nukes aren't working. I guess they don't work when you have more zombies than they can handle. Oh, wow, look at that. I think Arcan is moving up north to go after the Beastman. Well, at least he's doing something. Gitter Pigkissa. Who are you and why are you trying this? This is way too many zombies for you to deal with. Goodbye. Alright, Gorbad wants peace. Ooh, and if we don't give it to him, will he actually attempt to attack a Wilhelm of the Grim Banquet? Let's find out. No peace, only war. And he will move towards him in march stance. Oh, you don't march stance right in front of all the cannibalistic ghouls. Oh, that's a bad idea. Enemy killed in battle, scroll of power, storm of necromancy, faction destroyed poxmakers, faction destroyed order of lore masters, ally missions successful. John Doe has a channeling stab, but we'll turn that into something more useful. Creator, ready for duty. Ah, one of the tech thieves has returned, and one of the ghoul kings has returned. Felbad power up, lovely. And what are we going for next? Now that we have the Felbad power up, we could do invoke animalistic hunger, since the Vargeist have been a little bit on the less tankier side, let's say. I'd love to do the incantation of Nagash to get a little bit more cash. Cash from Nagash, as it were. Oh, that was awful. And oh, I also wanted to check, do we have access to the Knights of the Red Death? Because they're flying cav, and they would be perfect for the Red Duke to lead into combat. And if we gave them to him, he wouldn't need his zombie dragon necessarily. I do like these buffs for, you know what, let's do the buffs for the black coaches, and you know what, we have upkeep reduction for a lot of our expensive units, so let's do the Delusions of Grandeur as well, and then afterwards I imagine probably move towards Dread Animator for the upkeep reduction for Graveguard and Black Knights, since we use a lot of them too. Anyway, I was going to do something and I promptly forgot what it was. Is a crying shame. Ah, yes, Gorbad Ironclaw. I am curious as to what his defeat trait is, because I don't know what it is. I haven't had the chance yet, so we're going to go after him. Bloody Mary. Kill off one of his... Oh, no. Okay, I guess you're going to go after Thorgrim's guys. Ooh, wow, you failed last turn, didn't you? Steel Tech. Successfully, good. And what about you? Gossamer Garut, you have succeeded, so ignore you. Steel Tech. Alright, I'll do those between the episodes. I just started getting into it. Anyway, Wilhelm, let's level you up before we get on into the fight. You are going to get deadly power, get that physical resistance. Oh, that's a significant power up for the ghouls, and man, they've got to be hitting real hard now. 174 weapon strength, and about to be soon even more as we get the Tower of the Bloody Tooth to get another 10% weapon strength increase. In fact, let's level this up while we're at it. You, sir, Wilhelm. Get you on Death Resurgent. I don't think we need anything else in here unless I'm mistaken. I mean, I guess we could get Dread Knights, which will give a buff to... Okay, we're not doubling up. It will give... Wait. Black Coaches, this is the one that's supposed to... Yeah, Mortis Engines. We'll get a couple more, or at least one Mortis Engine in here, so the 1 point is worth it, in my opinion. And... let's actually get you some casting ability. Invocation of Nahek, and we're gonna go for Spirit Leech first, because we have the Necros to cast the other stuff. Alright, and speaking of the Necros, we should level you up as well. Now, Necros, you have let them roam. It's time to go for Friends in Dark. But now, Stash of Organs to get even more weapon strength on the ghouls. And I might as well get Ancient Binding Rituals as well on you, and Stash of Organs, and... I guess let them roam. Alright, even more damage, now up to 192 on the Crypt Horrors. Man, we could make... If we had, like, I don't know, like 4 to 6 Necromancers in an army and just nothing but, and like 10 Crypt Horrors, we could get them probably up to like 300% weapon strength at some point. Or even mix them with a few things that give them armor, give them some White Kings for 5 armor per White King, put in a War Drum, and give them another 25 armor and missile block chance, and then they'll be hitting for 300 weapon strength with like 100 armor. Which would be insane. Granted, they're already pretty insane, but you can support them up to crazy heights. For now, though, Gorbad, you screwed, buddy. I haven't seen you on field yet. Well, we're about to see you, but probably not for long. Go ghouls. Alrighty, the dead rise. Do they? Interesting thing to say from the from a Strigoi or the Ghoul Kings in general, as ghouls and crypt horrors. Those are all technically living things, not pleasant living things, mind you, but living things. I do think that in 8th edition they were, or I don't know which edition, but they were technically changed to undead. But ghouls were always alive. They're corrupted, they're cannibalistic, but they're not undead like zombies and stuff like that. And once again, they're units that absolutely should not melt away when and crumble like other undead units. They should actually flee the battlefield. Frankly, there's a bunch of... The vampires shouldn't melt away like that either. It's always been kind of silly. They're fine. They can run. They're not going to just melt. It's zombies and skeletons that stop like puppets with their strings cut, and Graveguard should probably fight to the death, so that's more or less fine from them, but not vampires and certainly not ghouls. It's just not the way they work in the lore. But anyway, I digress. It looks like Gorbad is having a very bad time against our Strigoi Lord, who's hitting reasonably hard at this point. His weapon strength's a little bit low, but the point of the Strigoi on the Terrorgeist mount with that Herald of Morcaine ability that they have, or whatever the ability was called, it basically makes them unkillable. So yeah, massive amount of HP, which will increase further, as well as a huge amount of healing and damage resistance. The rest of Gorbad's army ain't having a particularly great time, as our Crypt Horrors are smashing through the armored orcs, biggins and black orcs alike. Gorbad's down to a couple more hits, but I guess we don't need to see his death. He'll just fall off the board. It'll be a fairly similar animation to what we've seen before. Now what the enemy does have is a bunch of black orcs all concentrated on the left flank, and where the regular orcs are absolutely failing. In fact, looks like this is lovely. Look at that. All the gobos and the regular orcs have shattered, but the black orcs are completely fine, nearly full leadership, solid amounts of HP. I like that. I like how the basic troops are done for and the elites are still very much fighting. Also, nice sort of charge from the Snotling pump wagons through the lines of black orcs, though their leadership, being goblins, is also going to send them routing shortly. Well, it's black orcs versus us here. Good job to Gorbad for at least building some of these guys, because he certainly needed them. Now, the regular ghoulies aren't going to do too much to the armor of the black orcs, because they lack armor piercing, so it'll be up to the crypt horrors to break through those thick, crude plates. And, of course, our Strigoi Lord will move in to help matters out. And damn, yeah, look at the black orcs are barely taking any damage here. Though I guess they are still using error boys and gobos in the midst of all this to shield them to some degree, and they're about to start suffering a lot more as more crypt horrors move to help out against them. Alright, and the Strigoi has arrived to lead his ghoulish court for their latest banquet. And there we go, the Crypt Horrors charge into the Black Orcs, and it looks like the Black Orcs did not like that one bit. They started to take a little bit of damage, losing, what, 25-30% of their HP, and then decided, you know what, no, that's that's a little bit much. And of course, they just get crushed like the rest of the enemy army would, and the Crypt Horrors will chase them down and obliterate them quite quickly. Lovely. Alright, there we go. I don't know what Gorbad's plan was moving southward in march stance like that, but, well, hardly anybody should be... Nobody should be surprised he got eaten by ghouls, is what I'm getting at. And his army is, of course, destroyed, and any minor losses that we suffered were obviously healed up. Looks like only 6 ghouls killed by the Black Orcs, but that's what the Crypt Horrors were for. Taking those hits, and the Crypt Horrors do generally be fairly difficult to deal with. Alright, I'm curious about his defeat trait. Is it anything nice? Recruit rank plus... That's terrible. It's just... terrible. I generally don't like recruit rank plus defeat traits as a thing, because usually your fighting armies are not the ones recruiting for you. Leadership or size is something, but you can massively increase those via various means, and, well, it's okay on some supporting stuff. Kind of a mad defeat trait, to be perfectly honest, Gorbad. I thought you'd do better. We'll try to do him justice when we play him ourselves. Anyway, obviously, I auto-resolve this little rebel army, which will damage our army a little bit. Let's heal it up, because I'd like to auto-resolve Carrick Drawn, which we can't do because we can't reach it. What we can do is... Necromantic Ritual, just in case something causes us attrition. Ooh, we did get a Staff of Damnation, though, which is very nice. I like to have at least one of these in every single army, because it's a fairly significant buff. Anyway, Manny, can you reach the Lost Palace? Yes, you can. I'll resolve that real quick. And let's get back to doing stuff in order once more. So, to Lost Palace ye shall go. I'll resolve this. And you're almost done here and gonna be ready to move to Nagashazar, and probably the biggest battle that you'll find. If interest remains in the campaign, I know my interest will, but anyway, we'll move Manny from Nagashazar to maybe all the way to Jarnagrund, which should also be just as big of a battle, especially if we can manage to fight it in the field. Ooh, Ungrim is coming around, and I did notice before he had a lot of Slayers. Slayers are all tier 3, so I guess he actually has a decent stuff, and that should be pretty fun for Vlad to fight. In fact, it should be fairly difficult for Vlad to fight until he gets Blood Knights and stuff. I do want to keep an eye out on potentially raising another Blood Knight unit for him, or even Blood Dragon Warriors if we can manage to pull it off. You guys, I see, are going to be annoying. We'll have to have the auto-resolve army and deal with them, but anyway, I'll figure out what to do about that later. For now, let's keep moving in order. Kadon, not you, though, because you're waiting on this, including those 2 war drums, and I see the thing at Galbaraz is gone. But I think until you get those war drums, you're not going to deal with it. I don't like how Toxer's running around, although, frankly, it's a relatively minor thing. You're going to steal to... No. You're going to wound Cyprus, because then we can use the next turn to uncover whatever brats are at Stone Mine Tower. There we go. Up to 9 blood kisses now. And you're gonna go in ambush stance? I doubt he's gonna go over here, but where are you going? It's very concerning. I feel like we're gonna have to send an army after this guy and wipe him out before he takes something that's undefended. Wish we didn't have to wait for Orlok here. Also, you, Ludwig, I guess you're headed now to Skaven Blight, mostly because I expect Kemmler will not want to turn this way to Carrick Buftar. Probably better to move towards Carrick Hearn this way. Alright, Kemmler. Okay, you're out of order, buddy. This whole system is out of order. Well, let's see if you can kill off... Please don't move further. Stop. Okay. Alright, let's go here. Like so. I'll resolve this for obvious reasons. Oh, we still have to get Kemmler his other Hex Wraith. I have to keep an eye on that. Return captives. And then, I guess, oh wow, you really do need to channel. And start moving back this way. Then, back to you, Ludwig. We could send him out to sea to chase down Toxer as well. There's certainly a possibility. This way we could have him land at Stone Mine Tower. I assume that there's rats at Xerixil, but there's no guarantee. Well, you know what, let's take a risk. Even if there are rats at Xerixil, our vampiric friends here are at war with them, so it shouldn't matter over much. Let us instead... You know what? Black Buckthorn, Iron Breakers, Giant Slayers, Organ Guns, Iron Drakes, Hammerers. I feel like that's a fight worth fighting, don't you? Ludwig, go close to Black Buckthorn. We'll see whether he moves past you or moves this way. Don't go in march stance just in case, because frankly, your army is going to take heavy damage here if you do, and frankly, most likely even if you don't. Let's get you Spirit Leech. Prepare for this fight. And I guess Nehekara's Noble Blood as well. Like so, and then Necromancer, you are going to... Okay, you already have Wind of Death, let's max out Dance Macabre. Nah, let's max out Raise Dead. If we do fight this, we're definitely going to need it. Gonna be interesting to see Organ Guns versus... oh, I'm very excited for this fight now. I love those rogue fleets because of the potential battles they have for us. Anyway, Wilmar, you now have your fourth, count 'em, fourth Terrorgeist, and are going to... he started to build a few Storm Vermin, 3, but primarily Clan... Oh, not Clan Rats, Skaven Slaves for now. You know, you move towards him. I think we can cut him off, but we'll see. Elvira moved this way as well. I'm actually a lot more worried about her getting ambushed. And this army won't be good for it, and it'll be an easy way to lose our Sylvanian crossbows. In fact, you know what? For this turn, stay here. I'd like you to... Let's see what the Cathans have for us now. Do they have Fire Rain rockets? No, they do not. They do have some Jet Lines and Jade Lines, and frankly, both of those are constructs that would work fairly nicely with some of our armies. The Jet Lines in particular have that Guardian Shield ability. Spell resistance plus 25, which would be quite nice for the Ghostly units. You guys have the Breath, which isn't as big of a deal, but you do have the Power Recharge. Celestial Lines are fairly fun. But yeah, it looks like just build a Grand... Oh, you're going to take forever to build this Grand Cannon because we're recruiting drums. You know what? We'll do it later. Start moving back this way, stay near Recruiter. And Recruiter, just wait for more bats. Hello, we get more Blood Dragon Warriors available. Hey, we do have Blood Knights available. And another Mortis engine. Okay, I will figure out where to send those guys between the episodes because we don't have time for it right now. Bathilda, you have no way to... Oh, you do have your zombie dragon now. I was about to say you have no way to break through the enemy territories. You go here to Steel Tech. You go out here. And then... Wasn't there another one? There was another one, but whatever. Bathilda, break through Karakazgal. Can you do this with an auto resolve, or do you need help? Crushing defeat. I think you're really underestimating the black coaches there, game. I really, really do, but sure. I'll deal with that between the episodes. More importantly, Nazert, you're gonna trade to Recruiter the bats and the dogs, which have places to be. And then you're gonna move this way. To trade the bats to Recruiter and to trade the dogs to the soon-to-be online dog army. Wait. I screwed that up, didn't I? Nazard is the one that's supposed to lead. Yeah, he's the von Carstein bloodline with the Houndmaster. Damn it. Okay, I screwed that up. My bad. I was supposed to do it the other way around. Recruiter was supposed to trade them to him and then send the other guy the other way around. It happens, guys, it happens. Gustav Grigorovich, you're next. Let's send the inevitable death out ahead of you. See if you can't find some lords and heroes while you start moving towards the Sinhal Monolith. And by the looks of it, you are very much on the approach to Lustria here. Which might be fun. More lizards to be found there. Frankly, I did want to send Carlsbrook on an expedition out there, which I still think we'll do. Speaking of Carlsbrook, you can auto-resolve this, and I think you can finish off Kairos. No Slaneshi giggle for you, Kairos, just because your abilities are annoying. And Manny, I think, is ready to start his journey. We'll leave Abyssa and the stacks at the Forever Maze. 2 full stacks for our Blood Dragons. And speaking of our Blood Dragons, we can't quite reach that Skull Island yet. I don't want you to suffer attrition either, so go here, we'll grab that Skull Island, and we'll either land at the Castle of Splendor or something, but I think we'll need both of these armies to fight together, because we only have a couple of Blood Dragon units in here for now. Which we will be looking to change, but we can't yet. You have 11 turns still, so you might be able to assassinate one of the heroes of Abyssa here. Oh, they have another stack. Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, anyway, what we could do is Wallach can destroy Slaanesh. Once Abyss's army is broken, Frederick can start moving towards Lustria. Manny can start moving towards Nagashazar, soon to be Manfredazar, and Wallach can go to the eastern colonies and wipe out the elves there, just because he can. Let's keep moving. Let's see if there's anything else that we've got battle potential with Gal. Ignore the recruiters for now, because I'll deal with them between the episodes. You, sir, Red Duke. Tempted to go after the island, but we need to loop back around to grab Castle Carcass Sun. That hasn't changed, especially before the orcs recover. So start moving this way or keep moving this way. I'm curious to see whether Arcan... Oh, it looks like he did win against Morgar. Huh, I kind of wanted to get his defeat rate on other lords, but it's a really nice one, but it is what it is. You go to Quenelle, which is barely any defenses. You're gonna kill off one of our precious zombies. How dare you, auto-resolve. Ah, they got reforged, or the dead rose. Perfect. Not that we really care about the single zombie unit, but it's the principle of the thing, damn it. And we will pop you in to repress mortals. Gotta love repressing those mortals. Just like in real life. Anyway, Helman Gorst, you... Alright, I'm thinking, guys, that I'm gonna call the episode here. It doesn't look like there's going to be any more battles to be found, at least not in this particular turn, which means I can deal with at least some of the admin between the episodes, and then whatever admin remains we'll finish up next turn, next episode end the turn, and then proceed. We're looking to try to fight Thorgrim and his pretty elite stack. Ooh, he's building hammers and ironbreakers now. Very nice. Start dealing with him. This deck is actually also still nice. He's got more hammers, more iron breakers, grudge throwers, goblin hewers. There are lots of regiments of Renan. Is he tier 5? He's tier 4, but I think you can get iron breakers at tier 4 already, unless I'm mistaken, because he has way too many of them to have started them. Yeah, unlocks recruitment of hammers and iron breakers. Well, that explains why his armies are getting more elite. It's nice to see. It looks like by the time we get the Altdorf is... Actually, I think this is tier 3. By the time we get to Altdorf and start fighting the Empire, they'll probably be tier 4 and start pumping out elite units. I expect the same thing is probably true of all of the Chaos Dwarfs, as well as Tamarkan. So I hope that the interest in this campaign remains, because the battles, well, we'll probably start encountering a lot more elite troops as we go as well. Eats is still tier 4, but by the time we arrive here, it may very well reach tier 5. Ah, but I see the Golden Colossus is a tier 4, which means Tehenowen has elite units. And how are we on those tier 5s? Still no, eh? Get to work. Anyway, guys, once again, calling it here. Stay tuned for more Vamps, and... Oh, I forgot to do the Skull Staff battle. All right, I guess we'll... You know what? We could do it right now. Why not? We're a little bit damaged, but why not? Well, you know what? I'll save it for next episode. This episode's already gone long. I can never keep it to exactly an hour because I always enjoy playing the Vamps so much. And we already had, what, 4 battles this episode or 5 battles this episode? I don't remember how much it was, but I do know that anything over 2 battles is a lot of editing to do on these videos, and it increases kind of exponentially. So yeah, I'm just gonna call it here. Stay tuned for more Vamps. Lots of stuff to do. Lots more battles to come. All glory to the algorithm. Likes and comments below for the threshold, and thanks for watching.